Yes, it's very busy as always, and especially when recently we have the strategy that we are all in AI and getting a lot of new AI features across all our block product lines. There's tons a lot of work to do. Yes.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to say the least.
It's interesting, right? So it's super exciting time right now, and for our block and for most of the people in the AI industry. But I do hear people say, oh, it's like garbage time. It's so kind of it's so boring right now in crypto. But we didn't feel that, right? We just feel exciting. It's basically like a cloud 10 years ago, and also like internet booming in 1998 or 1999, and it's kind of also like the iPhone moment. Yeah, there are so many things going on every day. You wake up and you see something's new dropped, and those development, most of those development are so exciting and so new, and some of them might impact what you're doing, and you have to adjust, and you have to learn, adjust, and think. It's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that one of the topics that you and I have both been talking about recently is MCP, Model Context Protocol. There was a really good article recently by A16Z, a deep dive into MCP in the future of AI tooling. And I wanted to spend a few minutes just going through that and getting some of your feedback. What are some of the unique opportunities that you see between MCP and blockchain technology that ArcBlock is particularly excited to explore?
Yeah. So we have talking about MCP for a while. Actually, apparently in the last couple of months, the hitting of the MCP is basically like a booming up. It's way much faster than we thought. So now almost everybody is having something on the MCP, either support MCP or they try to extending something on MCP. I think that's pretty good. As an article you mentioned by the A16Z, I think she really did a great job to predict and also analysis what could be improved and what could be built next. I think it's kind of like a guideline for any startups who want to get into this space. That is basically the guidelines.
As you think about MCP within ArcBlock, are you able to share some of the specific examples?
Yeah. So when we see MCP, we first get excited because this is solving a real problem for anybody who building AI. MCP itself isn't that new or isn't that kind of a bring any new concept. It's actually just a kind of standardized tool use for AI models. So the AI models can use external tools. This has been in place for more than 1 year. The first one is OpenAI's function call. Then everybody followed, right? Everybody has this function call or called tool use, which is basically let the AI models to call external tools to do something, right? So it's basically like AI is like your brain, but tools are all those kind of tools that you can use in the real world, right? But if you have a smart and you can use all kind of tools, and then that makes you really, really powerful. So that's the same thing for the MCP and for the tools for AIs. But before MCP coming out, each of the different AI models or each of different frameworks, they have different way to use the tools. Some of the larger company, for example, like OpenAI or some Chinese companies, they even think that to having their own tools is one of the way they dominated the game, because as a new startup, your resource is limited, right? Even you have great idea, great algorithm, great framework, but you cannot build 100 tools, right? You can only focus on a few of them, right? And so those company, for example, notably, for example, the company behind TikTok, right? That's a Chinese AI company. Their strategy is building hundreds of these tools that nobody can compete, because how can you compete with a tech giant? And those tools, of course, only worked for their ecosystem, right? So the whole AI industry, the people building the AI, think that the industry need a standardized way to use different tools, right? We can't let one or two large companies, they dominated the whole tool market, and then that makes their AI, and application is powerful. So I think the MCP coming out at the right time is basically like an open protocol that anybody can use, anybody can implement. So this create a completely new dynamic for the industry. That basically means any AI models can use any kind of tools as long as you speak the same language, right? So this completely built a new ecosystem. So that's why we are so excited. That basically means that with ArcBlock, we now can focus on what we are really good at, right? So for ArcBlock, we have the strategy since January. We have the strategy that we want to adopt the MCP protocol at the foundation level of our block. You will see that we put the MCP protocol at a very foundational level, which is basically side by side as a DID, Decentralized Identifiers protocol. So by enabling MCP in the foundational layer of our block, that basically means any component, which is any blocklet in our block, is now, first, it's an MCP server that it can providing a service as an MCP protocol to any AI models and any other tools in the world. Right? Whoever supports MCP, they can consume the power from the ArcBlock platform, because the whole ArcBlock platform, from the blocklet server, block service, every blocklet, it can expose its capability as AI tools. Right? The second is any blocklet in ArcBlock is actually also a client and a consumer of the MCP, which means every blocklet, every application that you build on ArcBlock, you can also consume whatever MCP tools that in this world. You can use all kind of AI models and all kind of tools in your application. So this makes like the capability of the whole ArcBlock ecosystem, I would say probably 10x or even 100x stronger, because we're basically joining a bigger ecosystem, and we are the ecosystem.
So if you build into the foundation, on the flip side, then what would be some of the most critical limitations that MCP has around areas like authentication, authorization, scalability, and how is ArcBlock actually addressing those?
Yeah. So MCP, when I look at the MCP protocol, as somebody who has the internet background and also a lot of crypto background, right? So I just feel that it's really interesting is that the MCP protocol is apparently created by the people who are internet in the mind, right? It's basically like I said that it's like HTTP for AIs. It's efficient, simple, and but usually it does not consider a few of that things that in the crypto industry we really think important. First of all is identity. So identity, authentications, payment, security, those are all a lot of common weakness in the internet protocols from the protocol level, right? So that's why in the internet, people usually build the identity on top of that, on the application layers, right? So all the identity, security, authentications, payment, they are mostly on the application layer. But for the HTTP, those lower layers like HTTP or even SMTP, like emails protocol, itself does not have very strong like user identity and especially payment. There's no economic layers between this. I think that's the same thing for the MCP. Even MCP was just invented last year. It's interesting to see that they didn't take too much in account for this, right? Even the identity. So in the MCP community, there's already threads talking about it, how to do the user authentication. They didn't think this part yet. So that's actually I see this as an opportunity because another important protocol that ArcBlock is invest a lot in the last couple of years was Decentralized Identifier, DID. DID is a W3C identity layer protocol, decentralized identity, and also called self-sovereign identity, which means these identities and identifier is not issued by some authority or some kind of third party or government. It's a self-claimed, it's self-sovereign, and they use a cryptographic algorithm to ensure that even those are self-sovereign identity, they're still verifiable and highly efficient, and most importantly, nobody can take it away. But so that's the architect of today's MCP. But if you want to make this as like a large-scale service, you cannot let everybody, or if you want the average day people use this technology, you cannot have everybody run a lot of different MCP servers with configurations and install a bunch of command lines on their computer. This is not the way it's going to work. Then you need all of those authentications. You need user identity, and you need, of course, you need a security concerns. You basically open up a lot of capability that the AI can do, probably without you even notice them, and that could expose some vulnerabilities to the bad applications, right? So all of those need to be solved, and it can be solved. And I think from ArcBlock's point of view, we want to adopt the MCP in every of those blocklets, which are network and decentralized dApps applications that are runs on the internet. It's not on your local computer. So fortunately, we have DID. I think the DID and MCP, they make great couples, right? We just so that's our focus. We're going to support the whole MCP. We're going to extend the DID and the verifiable credentials, and of course the blockchain, the payment system, because AI. When the AI want to find all kind of tools and all kind of other AI agent to use, it shouldn't ask humans help to pay or evaluate what to pay, right? So the AI should decide for themselves. To make the AI decide for themselves, you need to give the AI a very strong, secured, fast payment system, right? You cannot let the AI to apply for credit card. I guess they probably will not get a credit card, right? But with the crypto, so this is such a natural fit. So that's all they want, right? So I think this is open up a huge market in the future.
Yeah. Do you think the builders using technologies like OAuth are actually folding MCP back versus what you're describing with decentralized identity?
I think OAuth is something. OAuth is pretty good, right? So it's and also OAuth ecosystem, they are evolving. It's also a relatively young application, but the OAuth is mostly designed for this kind of we call federated user identity models. That is basically, for example, you have a Google account or a Facebook account, and then you do not want you have your user account across all different kind of services, right? Then you authorize the other service just to use your identity from those identity providers, and then you can authorize them to use that, right? So OAuth is still going to be pretty useful, especially for those kind of service or tools that they from the centralized world, right? Imagine, for example, if you want to have an MCP server authorize that MCP to access your Gmail, you need to use OAuth to authenticate and authorize that MCP server to access your Gmail account and take certain data and then give that to AI. So that is still useful. But for the DID is for the different scenarios. And the DID for, first of all, right? Imagine in the future there's a lot of MCP servers, server programs, which are not the software that run on your computer, right? How do you tell this MCP server is authentic MCP server, not a spamware, right? You need a DID, because with the DID and with the verifiable credentials, you can track the source. In today, so this is a big missing part. The only way you can do is probably you have to trust the like a Facebook domain, Google domain. You constantly sometimes hear this kind of attacks. It's called this kind of domain name attack. So they attack probably the domain name servers across your ISP, and then you get food to get into some other service, which is actually the attacker's service, right? So I think the DID and the OAuth, they are addressing different problems, and DID going to be especially useful for those kind of agent-to-agent communications, and OAuth is going to be useful for those agents to use legacy tools that you have today. Right?
So I know online you talk a lot about user experience, And I'm curious, ensuring a consistent and user-friendly experience across different MCP clients is important. What strategies is ArcBlock thinking about in terms of tackling the user experience challenge?
The MCP protocol itself is a protocol for the machines, right? For the AI agent, and as a user, as the end user, you actually do not really need to do use actually using MCP or whatever MCP brings, right? Today, some of the people, because today is our early movers, right? The most biggest user cases for MCP right now, they are either some kind of AI chat client that is deploy MCP, or like AI coding tools like Cursor, Windsurf, they all support MCP. So we as a developers, we interact with those and we see, okay, so AI is calling MCP tools, and you see these interfaces. But this is mostly like for the developers to like debugging or see the consoles logs of what's happened behind the scenes. But in the future, the MCP should be very transparent. So MCP is this kind of a technology that eventually everything and everybody is using MCP for something, but you don't feel that, right? So that's a beautiful part of that.
Yeah, kind of like when I use my 5G mobile phone. I don't actually know how it works.
Exactly. Today's technology is like that, right? So when we're using the mobile phone, there's hundreds different protocols, hundreds, maybe thousands of those different technology are working, accurately synchronized behind the things. It's like art, but people don't know. People feel it just worked. So I think that's a science, right? So the AI is supposed to be that. You just feel that AI has super intelligence. You don't need to know the transformer algorithm. You don't know how it works, but you know it just works.
So with the growth of the MCP kind of ecosystem, it's a really evolving kind of in real time in front of us. How do you see ArcBlock playing in the ecosystem through potentially partnerships, collaborations, development of new tools and services?
So I think first of all, anybody who built ArcBlock now they can, for example, using aging. In the past, aging only have a few tools, and like internet search, like the tools that you can connect to ArcBlock's other blocklet. Even it's open and anybody can build the tools, but unfortunately, ArcBlock is not the biggest ecosystem right now, and so there's the resource here is relatively quite limited, right? But now with the MCP, that basically means any tools that the developers build for the AI purpose, right? You can use it now. It's basically like the whole tools that you can use just become way much bigger. It's as big as some large companies. It's actually bigger, right? Because if they are decided to limit on their own ecosystem, nobody going to compete with this kind of huge open ecosystem. The second is also open up a way much bigger opportunities for you build applications. Because in the past, when you build a blocklet, it's a great platform to build dApps. But we all know that the dApps is still a relatively new concept. A lot of the average user probably didn't realize that they needed dApps or what's the really advantage of the dApps, right? So if ArcBlock is just a platform that is building dApps, and then your audience is relatively small, but now you can build any blocklet that turn them as an MCP, which is basically means that your tool cannot not only consumed by the users who need the apps, is actually be able to consume by the AIs, right? And one thing that a lot of people may not realize that the AI applications are badly or a born fit for the decentralizations. First of all, the AI consume a lot of computing resources. Even today, like OpenAI, like XAI. So for the AI, you eventually need a lot of computation capability that is decentralized and distributed. So you can always get your computing resources nearby. You're not kind of tightening everything in one or two vendors, right? So this is a need for the decentralized computing. And also the AI, imagine how scary AI is. AI is going to be smarter than human. It knows everything, right? It knows everybody. So are you willing to, tell all those kind of secret, business secret, personal secret to the large corporate that they know everybody? That is super scary, right? So the AI really going to wake up the people that we need an AI that is completely loyalty to me, completely secure to myself, right? Just for not even any of these vendors. So they're supposed to be all for ourselves, right? They just have this kind of model capabilities, but for the applications, it's going to own a lot of the users' data and secrets, so that is actually makes the need for decentralized apps way much bigger. But now today, if you have AI, the AI knows everything about you. Do you want Google and do you want some government agency, secretly have everything all? I don't think so, right? So this is even myself was surprised that we eventually realized that the dApps, the need for the dApps and need for the crypto is eventually going to kind of activated by the AI, not by the human.
So in that context, I'm curious, how do you kind of see the evolution of interactions between like AI, blockchain, kind of personal consumption? Like today we're kind of talking about like payments, but how do you see that evolving over time?
I think I think the naturally is going to starting from a payment. We have said this a lot. The AI agent is going to need to pay for some services, right? It can offer the services in exchange for some, value, right? So the crypto is a natural way to let the AI do this, right? So this is the beginning, right? And then eventually, I think is going to be the data privacy. You need to ensure the way that when you have all those kind of AI agents that are working for you, you want to ensure that everything is traceable. Everything is verifiable, right? So you don't want to dealing with a black box that you don't know if there is something's wrong or if something, especially some AI, is not at your interest, right? So that's why the blockchain have this kind of public and transparent records of the key decisions, and the DID and the VC verifiable credentials can have this kind of verification over the time. So that's going to be ensure that everything you use the AI, they are auditable and they are secure, they're auditable, and they're private. So I think this is going to be next step. So this potentially going to the use for that is going to be bigger than the crypto itself. So that's why many years ago I believe that I said blockchain is going to become the infrastructure. Foundation and infrastructure of the whole society. It's not just because the blockchain can support crypto. It's about the blockchain can support verifiable business records. All those kind of critical evidence, chains of those evidence can be publicly verifiable. So that gives the user confidence that things are not going wrong, right? So just like people, the fiction, the science fiction always think that in the future, AI is going to kind of kill the humanity because AI is going to get the conscious, they're going to do something bad. They work together to ensure that we have a bright future.
So the article went through and described one of the challenges that the MCP ecosystem has, and that's hosting and multi-tenancy. How does ArcBlock's decentralized platform address these types of issues, and what are the advantages that we can provide in that context?
Yeah. So every day there's exciting news coming out, right? So when they have that articles, so that's still quite a challenge. But today the challenge just becomes smaller because, for example, yesterday Cloudflare just announced that they are able to hosting the MCP servers on their serverless environment. And earlier than that, Composy announced that they are providing the hosted MCP services that for a lot of people. I believe in the future it's going to be a normal thing that a lot of those MCPs, they are providing by is not something that you need to install in your computer, but it's just like the data service. There's always two ways for you to have those kind of powerful tools or powerful applications. One type is some giant company hosting everything for you, and then you basically renting the resource and renting this capability from them. The risk is they are owning your data. The other choice is you have something that is self-hosting, and which is you have the total control, and you're not worried about your data get leaked by somebody else. However, if you want to do this kind of self-hosting, you need technical skills, right? So ArcBlock platform, when we build our platform, we're targeting the dApps, right? Most of those dApps are supposed to be self-hosting, but the self-hosting, only geeks can do that. So the ArcBlock platform is basically we're trying to build a cloud computing platform for the dApps, which is basically that you can self-hosting, have total control of your applications, and you can get all those kind of easy to use features from the cloud computing, right? I believe Amazon probably going to have something. This is basically you are having some cloud company provided service for you, or you can use ArcBlock that providing something that you have a full control, while you also have this kind of easy to use features.
Yeah, and I was just going to ask you, as you integrate MCP as a foundational component of the blockchain or ArcBlock platform, how do you see building dApps changing for a lot of the builders on the platform now that you have access to MCP?
So when we enter this market, we have this strategy. We want to make people build the software easier by reusing components, by providing no-code environment for people to use, because we think this is the best way for us to include more people to build the software together with us, right? But when we started that, we didn't see the AI coming yet. We just thinking about, okay, we should make this kind of software reuse and the software component concept better by leverage the power of the blockchain and crypto, and to organize people who can build something together, and then we can build some bigger software. But now there's a powerful force is joining, which is AI. So that absolutely makes this process even faster, because for the whole army that can build applications that work together are not just the humans that work on ArcBlock. They're going to be AI agents running ArcBlock and building on ArcBlock ecosystem. And I think I can tell a few things that I don't believe that AI, no matter how good it is, I don't believe AI can just build all the software from ground up by coding everything by itself. It's still going to be like a human software engineer that we're going to have reusable frameworks, reusable components, reusable foundations that we build a foundation together, right? So no matter how powerful the AI is, AI is still going to reuse a lot of existing components to enable to build the full software, right? So that's actually the value of the ArcBlock is up here, because ArcBlock is more about a lot of those kind of reusable components. So with the AI capability of building software plus all of those kind of a component ecosystem, so I think it's more reasonable and more the possibility that we're building amazing software with AI going to be much larger. Everybody is picking the best tool, picking the best framework, best platform to solve a problem that the customer really need. I believe this is when the AI join force. I think ArcBlock platform in the next couple of years could potentially become the most suitable environment for the AI applications. I believe so. It's so lucky that we have this architect that evolving for the future application, and AI and blockchain. We should not waste the time, waste opportunity. We just need to build something that really be beneficial for all of us.
Robert, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts on MCP. I can't wait to see what's next.
Awesome. Yeah. So we are working around the clock, and even though we are just the same, but we did not release anything. But think about this. This is a foundational protocol that we're adding into every corner of our block. I believe that once we release, it's going to be a whole new things. Right? It's going to be amazing.